Hello, my dudes, and welcome back to the Miking the Press Pass podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm the Drizzle.
Whoa. We gotta change the name again?
I'm the Drizzle.
Actually, Mikey and the Drizzle?
Mike, the Drizzle's good. D-Train. My buddy Lee used to call me that.
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast, I think.
Oh, do we? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because we were talking about good nicknames.
Yeah.
He used to call me D-Train. I called him Hollywood. Which is a really good nickname.
So before we begin, what are you herfing on?
The Smoke of Love, or the Love of Smoke, whatever it is. Fume de More. I don't know if it's the Smoke of Love or the Love of Smoke.
Love of Smoke, maybe?
Yeah, I should ask my girlfriend, because it's either the Smoke of Love or the Love of Smoke. Or For the Love of Smoke. I think it's the Smoke of Love. Whatever that means. I don't know. Fume de More.
Well, I am smoking the Evil Clown.
Evil Clown. It's so evil.
Yeah,
AKA 601 Black Label.
Yep. Pretty good.
AKA House Blend. AKA Bar Hopper. I don't know what size.
The Toro, I don't know.
Yeah. I used to know all this when I worked here.
I'm always annoyed when companies do that. Like, this is the bar hopper, this is the whatever. It's just called by the size. It's fine.
I don't mind when they do that, but
it's annoying when you have to look it up. It's like, what size is this? It's a Toro, but what's the name of the Toro?
It bothers me more when companies do things like there are traditional sizes. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, this is it. Like, so we have a Robusto, and we have a Robusto Grande.
Robusto Extra.
Robusto Extra. And it's like, yeah,
short Robusto.
It's a 54 by 5 7/8. So it's basically 54 by 6. So it's basically a Toro. Just call it a fucking Toro. It's only like a 1/16 of an inch off or some shit.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's like, you just you play around it's a really big Robusto. Yeah, they call that a Toro. Well, it's like a Lonsdale, but a little longer. Oh, you mean a Churchill?
Yeah.
It's a Lancero, but short. Oh, that's a name for that. It's called a Panatella.
Yeah.
There's names for these things. There's so many names for cigars already. It's like, why do you need to go inventing? It's not a Corona Gorda. It's a Corona Extra.
Ooh, I don't know why they do that.
It's
it's annoying.
There just should be they should all be forced to fucking use the same names.
Just like in Cuba, the government makes you to have standardized sizes.
I went on this diatribe about spicy food. When you get a snack or something, and I like spicy snacks.
Sure. So
you get something that's branded super extra hot, and I'm like, I have no baseline for that. I don't know why companies.
Or they don't even make a mild, and it was extra hot. I was like, but you only make one flavor.
Yeah.
So why is it extra hot?
I don't.
They have places that sell soda sizes, right? They have medium and large.
Yeah. So small and large. So small and large. There's two sizes. But why doesn't spicy? Why don't they just put whatever the Scoville unit count on the thing is?
I like it when they put the little chilies on there. This is 3 chilies out of 5.
But what's the 5 chili scale?
I don't know.
What is 5 chilies? Is 5 chilies 100,000 Scoville units? Is it 2 million Scoville units? At least I have a baseline for what a Scoville unit measurement is, and it seems like they have this already for hot sauce, and most hot sauces use it. If it's a hot sauce that's going to claim to be incredibly spicy, it'll give you a Scoville unit thing on it most of the time. But not for a snack. I'll get something that's just hot, super hot, fucking it'll even be some pepper that I know is hot, it'll be scorpion pepper thing.
Yeah. I'm
like, that's a pretty hot pepper. So if it's scorpion pepper popcorn, I think it'll probably be pretty spicy. But it's not. They end up it's with the thing at the ghost pepper burger at Wendy's or whatever. You ever have that? You think it's going to be ghost pepper, but it's no, it's this ghost pepper sauce with a fucking ton of sugar in it. Yeah. So it's not spicy at all.
Or extra Cool Ranch Doritos. Well, how do you determine that?
It's cold ranch. It's so cool. It's cold ranch.
It's cold, baby.
I don't get the cool in front of Cool Ranch.
I don't know.
Well, ranch is a cool flavor by definition.
Yeah.
Is it colder than regular ranch?
It's ice cold.
Is it refrigerated ranch?
Ice cold. What's cooler than being cooler? Ice cold.
Ladies.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's a marketing jargon they use.
Yeah, but I would at least appreciate some consistency. It's like when you go into an Asian food place, and you're like, hey, yeah, can I have it spicy? And they're like, oh yeah, like not like white people spicy. Like I want
Yeah, like you go to a Thai
I want,
restaurant.
Yeah, I want like medium.
Not white guy hot. I want Thai hot.
No, I don't want Thai hot.
I know.
I want medium Thai hot.
Because I think most of the time people are like, I want it hot. They're like, no, you don't. You want a little kick. You don't want it hot.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is the scale is so low for like white people hot that it's like if I basically tell you give it to me really hot, it'll barely register on the Thai scale. Mm-hmm. It'll be something you would call bland.
This is what we give to children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want like medium, Thai people hot.
Yeah.
Like I don't want hot Thai people hot. I can't bear that. It's too fucking much.
Yeah.
I mean, I could. It just wouldn't be pleasurable.
Yeah, you're not really tasting the food
Yeah,
anymore.
just be like, oh, this is unbearable. But yeah, so it's like there's some sort of baseline here, like what constitutes spicy.
Yeah, or people that come into the shop, they're like brand new cigar smokers, like, yeah, I smoke a pack a day. I want something strong. I was like, no, you don't. You don't even know how strong these cigars get.
I would think that if you're a pack a day smoker, you probably can take that much nicotine. You don't think?
No, not to because you're smoking a cigar all at once, right?
Sure.
You're sitting down having a cigar for, let's say, an hour on average. Cigarette smokers only smoke a cigarette for 5 minutes.
Sure.
So it's like you're just getting like a drip, like a slow drip into your veins of nicotine rather than like a quick shot.
But you get that like every, half an hour though. So it just seems like your threshold for it would be.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people throw up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because all the people, the only thing I have to base on is that everybody that I know that used to be a cigarette smoker tends to like stronger cigars than I do. Like they're like, yeah, the strength doesn't. Like if they're a pack a day smoker, the people that I know, I can't give them a cigar that's like too strong for them. They're like, yeah, it's strong, but
Yeah.
it's like, wow, man, like it's strong for me, and I smoke a lot of cigars. So, but yeah, I would imagine that there are some people that are like that. But I would think that but at least you would think that if you're a cigarette smoker, you can take more nicotine than someone who doesn't smoke at all, right?
No, I'll agree with that.
Okay, because that's usually my attitude. Is like, oh, I want something. I was like,
I think someone something real wild. It's like, why even smoke a cigar?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm looking for something that's like kind of like a Macanudo, but a little bit milder. I was like, so you just want to get a straw and suck on the air?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get.
Just light a lighter in front of it.
Yeah.
And you can pull that heat in.
Just put a blow dryer in front of your face. Oh, yeah, that's strong.
That's the thing is people are always like, I want something like really low nicotine. I'm like, dude, besides like 2 or 3 cigars, I can name plenty of cigars that are high nicotine.
Yeah.
But I can't name very many cigars that are like super low nicotine. Like I always, the Macanudo.
Macanudo, maybe Davidoff, the white label, maybe?
Yeah, the Davidoffs.
Yeah.
But those are not exactly easy to find either. And so it's like, like I don't, like 85% of cigars are just medium nicotine.
Yeah.
And then like, of the remaining 15 to 20%, like 10 to 12% of them are high nicotine. And then there's like 1 or 2% that are like low nicotine.
It's weird.
It's hard for me to even tell, like, if a cigar has virtually no nicotine in it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
2020 still rolls around as the worst year. We're, as of today, there's a lot of wildfires here in California, and it's pretty smoky outside.
Smoky!
Real smoky.
It's not that bad, really. Air quality.
Yeah, you had the okay. So last year we had the same deal, but it was a little farther up north, the campfires, and smoky, but not as intense.
Last year?
Yeah,
Really? You were complaining about it an awful lot last year.
yeah. But this year, it seems like the intensity of the smoke is like a lot because like what's affecting like my throat. Like when I wake up in the morning, it's like what the fuck.
Oh, yeah. I don't even notice it. Like I notice it when I look outside. I'm like, oh, it's smoky out. But like when it comes to like me breathing, air quality, don't notice it.
Are you out that much? I don't know.
I don't know what's a lot, but not.
Are you out for more than 10 minutes a day?
Collectively, yeah, but maybe not more than like 10 minutes at a stretch.
Yeah, it seems like it was a lot worse than last year.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. It's coming in waves, too, because the wind's coming in. So, like, yesterday, towards the end of the work day, a nice breeze came through and was like, oh, it's nice and clear. Not that bad. This morning's like, you could barely see the sun.
In the mornings, it tends to be worse. I think that's part of it, too, though, is like mornings, with the exception of Saturdays where I work in the morning, mornings are a black box to me. Like, they don't even exist.
Uh-huh.
Like, I go to bed right before the sun comes up, and I don't wake up until the afternoon.
Why is the sun so low? Is it getting dark again?
Yeah. It's like, nope, I just don't know what that is.
Uh-huh.
It's like, what's a thing that happens in the morning? It's like, no.
Oh, when I'm sleeping.
It's like there's an episode of Friends.
What's that thing up in the sky?
Kind of what happens is Joey goes to sleep, and Chandler and Monica are dating, and Chandler comes over to Joey, or Monica comes over to Chandler and Joey's apartment, like late at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Have like this little tryst that they have. And Joey gets up to go to the bathroom, and he's like, "What? Why are you over here? Why are you over here so late?" And she's like, "What do you mean late?" He's like, "Yeah, it's still dark outside." She's like, "It's 8 a.m., Joey. This is what 8 a.m. looks like. You don't know because you always sleep till noon." And he's like, "Huh. All right, yeah, maybe go watch that sunrise then." Right? like he just believes it. Like that's me. He's
Yeah.
like, "This is what 10 a.m. looks like." Like, fuck, I don't know for the most part. I have no clue. I don't know what like common things. If it's a Saturday, like any given day of the week during COVID, you could tell me that. Oh yeah, like the traffic is bumper to bumper, like 8 to 11.
Oh, yeah.
I would have no clue.
I was like, is it?
I'd have no clue. Like I drive to work on Saturday morning, and that's the only day I'm up before noon. So yeah, I hear it's worse in the morning, but I'll just have to take everyone's word on that.
Dragons come out and weird shit happens.
Dragons
flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But,
Pretty bad.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, my windows are open at my house all day. It's not like I have AC or anything, so I have like my windows are open. I don't really notice it being.
You don't smell it in the air.
I did like the first couple days. It smelled like a campfire, but not like the last few days. No.
Huh.
I think I'm just like nose blind to like shitty air quality. Like he's spending time in Detroit and fucking shitty cities, and like we don't have all the like air quality regulations that you guys have here. So you go to Chicago, you go to Detroit, and the fucking air is just like this miasma. It's like a fucking like coal dust hanging in the air or something. It's like a Charles Dickens novel.
Yeah.
It's just like hangs in the air like that. It's a stack. So you just kind of get used to it. Like, oh, it's just fucking particulates in the air.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, this past week kind of reminds me of being in the Philippines, how like smog or smoky and smoggy it is. Plus the smell of a campfire because they burn their trash there. And so.
Burn their trash. Like people do it in the Midwest too. They burn their trash.
Yeah.
Like out in the sticks. Just like, let's burn the trash. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, I guess. Who's going to stop you?
Yeah. Or they have to like take care of their, outdoor area so they don't have like, there's no green bins to throw away their leaves, so they just burn the leaves.
Yeah. What do they do with all that, like,
What?
garden debris?
Where?
Like when you take yard clippings and stuff, what happens to them? Like, why can't
Oh,
you
here in the city?
just in general, like, why can't you just burn them in your yard?
I don't know. Don't they do that in like the East Coast? They have like incinerators. Like that's a thing there. Like I watched a couple movies that are based in like the East Coast, and they have like these, the barrels and these burn shit in it. I was like, oh, is that a common thing? I don't know.
I never lived on the East Coast, so I don't know.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
I don't know why you can't. I mean, I get why you can't burn trash, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because it could be toxic or anything like that. But yeah, like why not clippings? That's why not?
I mean, what are they going to do with them?
I don't know.
Probably take them somewhere and burn them. So why can't you just burn them?
Well, maybe they give them to like places that make compost. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm not exactly sure where they put the green stuff.
Yeah, it just disappears.
Yeah.
All the branches you cut off your trees and shit. I mean, that can't all be compostable.
It's organic. It can be. Where do you think what happens when it rots? What does it turn into?
No, I know that, but I mean, you have a compost pile for a specific purpose, right? And usually there are certain things that are like good to put in it. You know, yeah, anything will break down over time, but you're not putting like cigarette butts in a compost pile, right? You do something else with them. Like a cigar butt is a better example because cigarette butts are fiberglass, right? So that's like, but you wouldn't put like cigar butts in your compost.
Oh, you can.
You could, but like generally speaking,
Well,
it's
the
like,
worms don't like it.
yeah, there's a purpose to a compost pile.
Yeah.
And like just, you know, entire shrubs or whatever really doesn't serve that purpose. So, you know, you trying to get it going, right? It's like it's almost like a fire, but it's not. It's like you just gotta get it going. You gotta put certain stuff in there, you know, and it's like gets that composting happening, but not just
Use
like,
it in your organic gardens.
logs and shit. So you put some logs in there.
Yeah, it just takes longer to break down.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. They just turn into something.
Yeah.
Eh.
Anyway,
So, have you been watching anything?
I'm finishing up 6 Feet Under. I'm wrapping that up. I watched The Others the other night for the first time in like 15 years. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
No.
Came out this couple years after The Sixth Sense. It's a pretty decent movie. It's kind of a gothic horror movie. It's got Nicole Kidman in it, and I think that's the only person of note in it. It's a decent movie, but it just kind of has like almost the same thing going on for it as The Sixth Sense. Spoiler alert, everybody, you included. But yeah, it's just kind of like this.
Everyone dies.
Well, no, it's an interesting take. So I'll just ruin the movie for you rather than allude.
I'm probably never going to watch it.
So Nicole Kidman is this woman living in Jersey. Okay, it's a British colony off the coast of Normandy during this, like the tail end of the Second World War. And so she has like this mansion that she lives in, and she's got 2 kids. And her husband had went off to war, and he has yet to return. And the movie starts with like she's in the house alone because recently all of the servants have like abandoned her. And for whatever reason, she doesn't really explain it. And her kids are severely photophobic. So they can't have light. There's curtains in the house and candles, and every time you go through a door, you have to close the previous door. So it's like this. Oh, shit. Sorry, I got something in my throat. So these people turn up that are like people that she called for, like servants to help with the house. And so they come and they start helping with the house, and she finds out that they actually used to work at that house like years ago. And so then they start having like all these kind of creepy, like ghostly things happening. And she starts to think that the house is haunted, and you know, she's trying to like talk with the people that are living there now, and her daughter like is kind of makes these allusions to the fact that like her mom is like kind of crazy, and so you maybe think maybe she's crazy, and then at one juncture her husband comes back, and then just randomly leaves again, and so it's just like really confusing. And then as it turns out, like in the end of the movie, you discover what's happening is that the people that came to the house, like they're dead, and they have been dead for a while. And they're trying to like get her to come to grips with the fact that she is dead.
Okay.
So the ghosts and everything that they're seeing is like the house is haunted, but they're the ones haunting the house. And there's all these people that are like living in the house now, and they're trying to contact the spirits of her and her kids because they're like haunting the house.
Yeah.
And so you come to find out that what happened was, in a roundabout way, her husband went off to war and he never returned, and there was all this stress, and like the Germans were cutting their electricity. They don't have electricity in the house, and they kept cutting the electricity, and her kids are very dependent on her, and they have this photophobia, and like then the servants all leave, and basically she just wigs out and like smothers her kids.
Oh, okay.
And she thinks that like she like cracked, and then she's like she woke up and the kids were just like playing in the room, and so she thought that like God had like given her a reprieve or whatever. And so these people that had died before like they're there to try to like, you know, kind of usher them into like the ghostly world to like cope with all of these things and like this collision of reality. So it's like one part Sixth Sense, like one part like Fight Club, you know, where it's like colliding of your psyche with this trauma or whatever. And it's a pretty well done movie. It's a little heavy handed, and it's definitely a product of its time. It's very heavy handed with like the music, like, you know, and you're like, oh, okay. But it's a decent movie. I think it just largely got overshadowed by The Sixth Sense because it's a similar premise, right? There's dead all along.
Was it released the same time?
2001. So Sixth Sense was what, 99, somewhere in there.
I don't remember.
I want to say like late 90s, early 2000s. So it was like a few years after. It won a bunch of awards when it came out. And then
critically acclaimed.
I don't know that I would say that. I don't know that it was up for like any Oscars or anything, but it won like, you know, a bunch of the director is Spaniard. And so it won a like a Saturn Awards, and I think Nicole Kidman won a Golden Globe for it, and it won a bunch of like best whatever the Spanish equivalent of the Academy Awards are. Like it won best film there, even though there's not one word of Spanish spoken in the whole movie. So I mean, it's a decent movie.
It's like how Fifth Element's a French movie.
Yeah. We watched that too. Actually, I don't know if I told you that.
Oh, you were telling me they were planning to watch it.
Yeah. Well, Diana's been wanting to watch it, and so
she's seen it before, right? Or
yeah, she just hasn't seen it in a long. She's like, I watched this movie when I was a kid, and I remember really liking it. I'm like, that's pretty good.
Multipass.
Yeah, because I it's like that's what you say, right? You say like a bada boom multipass, and she's like, what is that? And I'm like, wow, it has been a minute since you've seen this movie. So yeah, but so I watched that and finishing up 6 Feet Under. I think those are the only two movies I watched this week. Cool. What about you? Watch anything new?
Just finished up the John Adams miniseries on HBO. The middle.
He was dead all along.
It's pretty interesting. It got better towards the back or the back third of that series. Like the middle part when he's like in Europe being kind of like a ambassador to the U.S. It's really not that interesting. But yeah, the whole part when he comes back to the U.S. and all that stuff happens with him was interesting. And it's kind of funny. You see like Alexander Hamilton there. And he's such a little bitch. It's like, ugh, I fucking hate his guts now too. He's like, I'm just gonna go to Washington. He's just gonna solve my problems. It's like, all right.
Okay.
But it's kind of funny to see that, like, you hear, you see the play Hamilton, he's like, oh, he's awesome, and you see him, and John Adams, he's like, ugh, fuck this guy.
Fuck this dude.
Yeah. And, yeah, I can see why people don't like John Adams, even people that were living at the time, like, yeah, that guy sucks, man, that guy's a dick.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he's incredibly hard-headed, kind of motivated by his morals, and he truly believes in it and will never moving. And yeah, it was just really interesting. It was kind of like, it seemed like he was kind of handcuffed by the idea of Washington and how he ran his administration. It's like, I'm going to do the same as Washington, like a great man like he was. And people are like, you got to go to war with France and all this shit. And it's like, no, I'm not.
France is pretty cool.
Yeah. Not that cool.
Fucking, they helped us, bro. Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of like you're like the first person to do something, and then like the second person to do something really can't do what you did. At least they shouldn't, because that's like, now you're like establishing the way things are. You're not building it up. It's like,
well, because it was so volatile that people just wanted to change these rules. Like, no, we got to keep it, under the Constitution, all this shit.
Boo. Constitution.
Mob rules all the time. How do you think this country happened, bro? Yeah. Mob rule.
He wants to be a king.
There's a funny part where, it was kind of like being the vice president at the time was like, what's the point? You're the guy that lost. So why do we need to listen to you?
Yeah, that's a really weird way they used to do that, where it was just like, oh, yeah, remember this guy like you spent all this time like bickering and debating and fighting with, and like he was like your mortal enemy. Now you guys got to work together.
Yeah.
Like, oh, great. Yeah. Thanks.
And in the film, they're trying to come up with ideas. How do we address the president? It's like, His Highness, His Majesty. It's like, this guy just wants to be a king.
He's trying to be a king. He wants the monarch back.
That and the whole thing with, what's his name?
Hamilton.
No, the other guy, the fourth president or third president.
Jefferson?
Jefferson.
Okay.
Like him writing in the paper that John Adams is a hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
It's like,
No.
God damn it, I'm not a hermaphrodite.
He didn't write that, did he? He told a reporter that, didn't he?
I think he said, yeah, and then the reporter was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a hermaphrodite.
What does that mean?
Go look that up.
Get a book.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of them in my library with all my slaves and shit.
So watch that. That was enjoyable. It's worth a watch.
Is it everyone seems to think it's like Paul Giamatti. You agree with that assessment?
He did a good job. I don't know if I'd call it Hamlet.
You don't think it's the jewel in his crown of like acting?
It's up there. I didn't say it was like stand out. It was like, this is the movie you need to see Paul Giamatti in.
Yeah. I mean, can't really think of very many. Like,
Yeah, I
oh my
remember
God,
him in-
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah. No,
It's like he's kind of like Steve Buscemi.
yeah.
He's just like a backup guy, and he's fine as that. He does well as those things.
I guess if people are thinking like Billions is kind of crown jewel.
I don't get that show. I feel like I should like it. There's so many components to it that are like the writer, the producer, like the actors. There's so many good actors in it.
Yeah, this big ensemble cast. Everyone does a good job.
And I just don't like it at all.
You think because you're not interested in the stakes of the game, like that's not your jam. That's why you don't like.
To me, it just seems like there's just almost too much of that like Wall Street bravado. Like, oh, he's a badass, cutthroat capitalist kind of guy. You know,
My name's Axe.
it's just too. It's like Glengarry Glen Ross on steroids. It's like that level of. So that I don't know, like when they say things that like when they deliver lines of dialogue that like when I watch people watch it here, they're basically like, oh damn, like it
Dunked on him, fool.
yeah, it just sounds really trite and like bravado, like it's just super extra.
Buy, sell, buy, sell.
So yeah, I don't really get that show, but I mean, so that's like what everyone thinks he's super good in. I guess that's like his claim to fame now at this point.
And then I watched Fear and Loathing Las Vegas. Never seen the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen clips of it, but never seen the movie from front to back.
It's one of my favorite
fucking
comedies.
weird. Yeah,
It's one of my favorite comedies.
yeah. It's really interesting.
It's super funny and fucking weird. It's like just so this weird confluence of elements that make it super funny. Yeah, I think it's a really underrated comedy. It's like I would say it's one of the movies that I consider like a comedy classic. Like it's just every time I watch it, I'm like, man, this movie's so fucking funny and weird. This gets better like every time you watch it.
Yeah, and the whole thing with like they don't explain like him having like a dinosaur tail
Yeah.
in the middle of the movie after when he's like tripping balls. Like what?
Presumably that's his perception of himself, I would imagine.
Yeah, but it's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's not Terry Gilliam's best movie, but it definitely is very good. And he was the right guy to direct that. He captures the essence of more than the other two movies, like the Hunter S. Thompson genre of, because he's really just like a genre in himself. He's not. It's like that whole gonzo journalism thing. You mean that thing that only he does and only he ever did?
Yeah.
Like that can't be a thing. That's just Hunter Thompson isms.
Yeah,
It's not a genre that he invented because he's the only person in that genre.
yeah. Because can you think of any modern writers that do the same thing? Well, the guy straight up lies too, right?
I don't know.
Just to create a story.
I don't know if he lies so much.
Well,
as
he made
he's
up that whole thing of the guy having like an ibogaine addiction.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, he makes things up for sure.
But you're a reporter.
I don't know how he's not a reporter. That's a weird thing about him is that he's not. He's a reporter, but not a journalist. Maybe he's just like some crazy drug-addled fucking dude.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. My old editor at the Daily Post was buddies with him, or like at least knew him, was somewhat friendly with him, and he was the guy. I don't know how much you know about Hunter Thompson, but there was this big push in the '80s where he was like had all these like allegations of sexual harassment against him, and
Oh, he's getting Me Too'd?
pretty much back then. And my editor at the time, who was like a young reporter, like in his early mid-20s, something like that, he knew Hunter, so he was like, yeah, it's like, this doesn't sound right. It just doesn't like sound right, because I know a lot. I don't know a lot about Hunter, but I know that, like, you know, luring women into his hot tub to like grope and molest them is not his MO. Like, sure, he'll invite you to his hot tub and he'll give you a bunch of fucking drugs.
Yeah.
But he's just not that way. He's not like a lascivious guy. So this just smells to high heaven.
It just seems like the guy's like, he looks for, you know, girls that are really easy.
Yeah.
And like, you're just come by my place.
So anyway, he decided he's just going to look into it. And so he's like, dude, I just made a couple of phone calls and like, I found the chick's name and I just looked her up with some just very basic, like just a few phone calls and a little bit of paperwork research, and come to find out that she works at the DA's office. And so this was in Colorado.
Oh, when he was running for mayor or sheriff? I forgot what he was running for.
I think this was prior to his sheriff's run.
Okay.
But it was around that time. And he was like, so here's the thing, is I'd been covering courts and everything for the Rocky Mountain News for several years. And I knew that the DA had like this big hard-on for like big drug busts. And so I just started digging into it. And yeah, as it turns out, there really wasn't a lick of truth to any of it. They basically wanted to raid Hunter's compound for drugs to get like this big, because his election, the DA's election was coming up. And he was like, he basically just wanted like this famous dude who was like a known like druggie. He just wanted an excuse and pretenses to basically go in there and like raid his compound and like find a bunch of drugs inevitably and like make a bust and make a big splash of like arresting this well-known guy because it looked good for his political career. And he was like, yeah, I just covered it. I covered all of the stuff. I covered all their responses to my reporting and yada, yada, yada. And then fast forward like 8-10 months and they just dropped the charges.
Wow.
It's like, so he pretty much got Hunter Thompson out of jail.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like, and it was funny too, because when I started working there, I was like, man, because in Hell's Angels, the book, there is a bunch of stories is right around that time. And there's a bunch of stories about the DA and shit. And a bunch of stories about the DA and his activity with Hunter and everything in the front of the book, like as almost like a preface. Okay. And those stories have Dave's byline. Okay. Not many guys go by Dave, right? He's Dave Price. And so, like, for whatever reason, the byline stuck out to me. And that I found out that, I mean, I wouldn't have, it's a pretty common name, so I wouldn't have been inclined to be like, you know, oh my God, like, you're Joe Smith? Are you the same Joe Smith that, no, but it was,
one and the same, my friend.
But he mentioned something about working for the Rocky Mountain News in the 80s. And I was like, oh yeah, that's really weird. Like, it's like, I mentioned something, he was like, oh yeah, I wrote those stories. He was like, yeah, I was like, they're in the preface.
You're a liar.
And he was like, oh no, yeah, like, I knew Hunter and everything. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. It's a random weird thing that, like, he did. And like, and he was like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I knew him a little bit, and I kind of lost track of him after that, but, you know, weird guy. I was like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should watch it. You should watch it 6 dozen more times.
Okay.
It gets good every time.
I bet there's probably like little tidbits there, like,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just like the Big Lebowski. The things that stick. The question mark was emphasized when he has like the napkin that says "Backdoor Beauty" on it.
Yeah,
it's got the giant question mark. He's like, question mark was emphasized. It's like just looking at it.
You know what really grinds my gears?
What's that?
Crybaby customers. Fucking annoying. It's just, we have one customer, you probably know who it is. And he's like notorious for leaving, like, there's a closed door. Could you get that door? Because you left it open. And he was just like, it's so fucking smoky in here. I can't believe you have a place that's this smoky. And that, you know, during this time, I'm the only person in the shop.
You're not even smoking.
I'm not even smoking at the time. I had a cigar lit and it was out. And then there was like, what smoke are you talking about? It's smokier outside. Why are you crying? Number 2, you're only going to be here for 30 seconds, so why are you crying? And he's going on and on how smoky this cigar shop is.
It's a cigar shop.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
There basically is no, in my opinion, there's no amount of smoke that you should complain about at a cigar shop. Like, even if you just like can't even see your, you just take the attitude.
Cigar shop.
It's like going into a bar and be like, man, everybody here's so drunk.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no shit.
Yeah.
Where do you think people are going to? So, yeah, no.
That and like a couple customers are coming in is like, geez, you don't have anything here. It's like, yeah, I don't make orders. I'm not the guy to talk to. I just work here. Yeah, but you don't have anything here. I can't believe you have a place like this. I try to be a customer and do this, this, and this. It's like, we have plenty of cigars. You just don't have the ones that you want, right?
You should, I feel like Bill is cool enough that he might get you guys shirts that say, I just work here.
Yeah.
Like, it just, so you could just
I don't tell you.
Sure, just like, I just work here.
No, even if you tell them, it's like, yeah, I know, but seriously, blah, 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 like a 15-minute rant. I'm like, dude, just go away.
I will say that we don't get those customers at Aloni. That's like one of the things that's like the best thing about working there is that I will get people like that will ask questions about things. Hardly ever like complaints. They might just say something like, oh man, you guys are out of the Superfly? Are there any on the shelf? No. Yeah, I guess we're out of them then.
Yeah.
Do you know when you're getting any more? You have to talk to Jeb about that. It's like, oh yeah, no, I feel you. And like that's usually about as close to a complaint as anyone really gets there.
Yeah.
It's like I just think it's just maybe
I don't know what it is about this place in general.
I think it's something has to do with the architecture. You feel like you're in somebody's house, so you just go up and put your feet on the fucking table and piss and moan about everything. Like, here's the thing, man. It's like, I don't know. It's just like, but you feel like you're, like, Aloni feels like it's basically like in a strip mall almost. So it doesn't feel, it feels like a business when you walk in. And I think maybe that's like some element of that, of like that psychological effect on people where they are in a certain environment and like, like if you went somewhere and the environment felt like a library or a church, you might just kind of subconsciously find yourself talking quieter. Probably. Like if it just looked and felt kind of like a church, you would be quieter. And in an area where people are kind of loud, people are louder. It's like, it's just like an environment thing. And that's the only thing that I can think of because I find it hard to believe that people in San Jose are just more animals than people in Fremont. I can't. I don't know. I can't buy that.
I don't know if it's just like the shop culture here, or is it? I don't know if because I don't go to Mission.
But it can't be because some of the people that are the biggest asswipes are people that don't hang out here that frequently. From my recollection, like people just give you, like fucking want to give you the works, and you're just like, they don't like it's like the first or second or third time you've seen them. So it's not like they're like the atmosphere is like seeped into their subconscious.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're like going on precedent. Or the way everyone else behaves because they're not here enough. So it's got to be something about like when you just walk in and what you see and what you experience primes you to think that like in a certain way. Or maybe the location, the branding of the shop, the architecture of the shop, and the sort of people that you see around the shop draw those people in like moths to a flame. So you get more of those people because they're just attracted to it. In the same way that if you pass by someplace, if you were in a city and you pass by someplace that you thought might be a cigar shop, but you see all like these high-backed, super fancy leather chairs and everyone inside is wearing like a tie and like you might be like, maybe not going to go into that cigar shop. It's not my kind of cigar shop.
Yeah, possibly.
You would just be like, you might dip in, but like you have all these psychological inhibitions. Like, man, are they going to just charge me to walk through the door? Are they going to like, how are they going to treat me? I'm in a t-shirt and jeans. Like, are these people that are in there going to kind of like look at me like, who's this fucking guy in my shop? And like, and you just might think twice about it. Whereas the antithesis could be true too, where it's just like, like people just see it's, oh, I got a yard and it's in this area of the town, and like evil clown like thing going on. Like it's just
or maybe
that kind of
I think it might be a ploy too with some type of people where if they complain, they might get some free shit. Sometimes I think that when they're just complaining to me, I'm like, well, like I just work here. I'm not the manager. I don't own this place. Like, what do you expect more from me? Like, well, I'm gonna get. Oh, sorry, bro. Let me give you a free box of cigars. Because we don't have this stuff. It's like we don't have it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it really irks me when.
It's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna make me whole with this stuff? I'm like, make you whole for what?
I'll put you in a hole.
Yeah.
It was like that guy. This was like right before I stopped working here. There was this guy I might have detailed this on a Grinds My Gears segment like a million years ago or whatever, or not quite a year ago, but a while ago at this juncture, because he came in and he bought like one of the Padron Principas. So it's like, $17 or whatever. And it's a short little smoke. And he buys it and he goes and sits outside and he comes back in like 20 minutes later with like more than half of the cigar smoke. Like 15, 20 minutes later, he comes in with like more than half of the cigar smoke. And I'm like, he's like, hey man, like, it's like burning really fast. And I was like, yeah, that's weird. I was like, you just smoke fast? And he's like, no, I smoke these all the time. And it just like, he just stood there. It's like, I didn't, like, it got to a point where I was like, whoa, yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty weird. I don't know people that have a lot of issues with construction of Padron. And he just like kept dancing around, like saying a bunch of random shit.
Yeah.
To the point where I had to just be like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I just, like, I had to just be that blunt with him. And that like comes off like dickish. Like, what do you want me to do, man? I'm like, actually, I think what I said was, how can I help? I tried to like not be an ass about it and be like, what do you want me to do? I was like, how can I help you with this situation? Like, what is it that you want from me? And then he was just like, well, just like, nothing, I guess. Okay. He just gets all like fucking pissy. And I was just
say
like,
what you want, right?
I was just like, dude, like what? Yeah. Like, do you want well,
you just want me to beg for you to give me another cigar? I was like, well,
I even
don't want you to beg if you want.
I even kind of like laid it out for him. I was like, well, hey man, if they're really dry, then I would imagine if I give you another one, it's just going to smoke just as fast as that one. Like, do you want another one? Like, I'll give you another one. If you just have to just say the words that you want another one.
Say those magic words.
Say something.
Use your big boy words.
Say something instead of just fucking like pussyfooting around like what it is. Yeah, just like standing there with like these pregnant pauses of like just like, oh yeah, that really sucks. It's really, I paid like $18 for this cigar. I was like, I was there, rang you up. It's like, I know how much it is. Like, it's just, what is it you need? Like, just use your fucking big boy words. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, look, man, if there's a problem with the roll, like, I was like, is it tunneling? Is it like canoe? He's like, no, it's just burning really fast. I was like, well, it could be.
But it's smoking fine, right?
But I was like, okay, so here's the thing: is the humidity in the humidor is reading fine. There is water in the humidor, and so if that one's dry, then they're probably all dry.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would be dry, but it's. He just was basically acting like it just through magic.
Yeah.
Burnt really fast. And it was like, okay, maybe that's possible, but I just don't know what is it that you want. Do you want another one of the same cigar that might have the same problem? I'm not going to replace them ad infinitum.
Yeah.
Do you want your money back?
Yeah.
Do you... What? Do you just want me to just be like, that
I just want a better one. Can you give me a better one?
Yeah, it's like,
I can't do that.
Without smoking it, I'm not going to know how it's going to smoke.
Or people that complain about prices, like, I don't make the prices. Number two, if you don't like the prices, don't come here.
That's true.
I don't know what to tell you. It's a free world. It's a free market. You can go anywhere else.
Yep. And I'm willing to bet that the prices won't be that much better.
Yeah, and they complain when they're... I was like, what other place are you going to come in San Jose at this late of an hour and smoke a cigar? And you're complaining about the prices. It's like some of those things is just like getting... Because I think it's one of those things where the lockdown, people are just getting more stressed out from it and just kind of blow back on here.
Well, the thing is they just kind of ignore...
I can't do anything for you. I don't know what to tell you. Well, other than that,
just trade-offs. It's like, okay, so maybe the prices are a little more expensive than they are at Mission, and I know expensive than they are at Aloni for most things. But we at Aloni, and same thing at Mission, like if you buy a box, you get 10% off.
Yeah.
Not 20%, and no price break at 10%. And independent of that, you also don't do any we don't do any stamp card stuff. And people don't.
Yeah, on top of that, if you buy singles, you get 15% back on your whole total.
Yeah. Well, it'd be 10%, wouldn't it?
15.
How's
for the
that?
Cards?
Yeah. It's a stamp for every $10, and there's 15 ports, and you get $15. That's 10%. Because you spend $150 to get $15.
Oh yeah, might have been enough now.
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way.
You still
it's-
get a discount.
Right. So unless it's like more, wherever you're going is more than 10% less expensive, then, and I really challenge you to find some place that's just unilaterally more than 10% less expensive than it is here. As it turns out, we're all dealing with the same tax and roughly expect to make the same profit margin and have roughly the same overhead. So it's like,
Or people just lie about complaining about stuff too. Like the whole thing with like, oh, the prices are so high, this and that. It's like, oh, okay. Cuts a cigar. Oh my god, it's so dry. It's like, no, it's not. I smoke the same as cigar. It's not dry. You're a fucking liar.
just want to just want you to fix my shitty life.
No, I think now that I think about it, I think people just want free shit from you if they complain enough.
No, they just.
They're like trying to scam you out of something.
Maybe
It's like,
they're mostly just because they're discontent with something else. It's like that Louis C.K. bit where he's talking about people talking about their phones sucking.
yeah.
My phone sucks. It's like, no, the phone is amazing. Your life sucks around the phone, right? Like that's how it is. Like this cigar is terrible. It's like, no, your life is terrible.
Yeah.
It's the cigar is fine. Like it's more or less the same as it is any given
Oh my
time.
god, the internet's so slow. I'm like, okay.
I sent you that text message like a half an hour ago. You're just now getting it. If you get it ever, it's amazing. It's this amazing feat of technology.
It is true, yeah. That's black magic, basically. This fucking black box of magic. All this stuff happens.
Like that Ron White bit where he's talking about the sunglasses. Why does a pair of halfway decent sunglasses cost as much as a 32-inch color television set?
Oh.
I went into a sunglass store the other day. I found a pair of sunglasses I like. I like them. I don't love them. The guy tells me $340. I say to him very politely, how the fuck do you sleep at night, you little prick? And this is no joke. I went to Walmart the other day. I bought a 32-inch color television set, $306. And I asked the guy, like, how is this a thing? And he's like, well, apparently, sir, you don't get it. I'm listening. These sunglasses block 100% of UV rays. No, apparently you don't get it. This thing decodes a message it gets from a satellite in outer fucking space. And he got all pissed off at me. Anyway, that's the end of my comedy routine.
But did you know?
The Chinese gooseberry was rebranded as the kiwi fruit when New Zealand began exporting them to the U.S. during the Cold War.
What was it originally called?
Was it Chinese gooseberry?
Wait a minute. So is this like a chartreuse thing? Where it was like they were called kiwis first and they named the fruit after them?
No, people from New Zealand are called kiwis.
I know that.
Yeah.
But I always assumed they were called kiwis
Because of the...
after the fruit.
Oh, no.
So they were called kiwis first.
Yes. And then
Well,
the fruit that came...
I guess it's a bird too, right?
Yeah, it's a bird.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that from that Tasmanian Devil show.
Yeah, the little...
He had a little bottle cap on his head and he's running around like the Roadrunner and shit.
Yeah. Those things are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really cool
If
animals.
you see a real one, it's like, whoa, that's really weird looking.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's cool. Australia and New Zealand are just, they have all the weird shit, all the
Yeah.
weird animals and shit. So, yeah, so why did they do that?
Oh, to get around, like, they had to export these berries, so they just told the New Zealand they take them out and they just rebranded them as kiwis during the Cold War.
Oh, because people didn't want something called Chinese something.
Yeah, gooseberries. Yeah.
Got ya. Yeah, so it is like chartreuse, how it's named, the color's named after the liqueur, not vice versa.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. It was in a previous Did You Know segment, because I was like, wait, what?
Wait
I was
a
like,
minute.
I fucking woke on it. I feel like it could have been it was like a memeable moment, I was like, what?
What's the other one? Is the color orange is it named after the fruit, or just like that's the color orange?
I think that oranges are named after the color. I think. That's a good question. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that too, and the color of the carrot. Like, carrots come in a whole bunch of different colors, right?
Yes.
But I think I forgot nation. That's like their main color. Like their soccer jerseys are orange after the carrot, but they're just kind of bred to be orange because that's what people think carrots are. Just orange things.
Oh, you mean they make them orange because people just have an association with them being orange?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like oranges aren't really all that orange either. They dye them.
Yeah, tangerines are orange.
Yes. But we also have the color tangerine to describe the color that tangerines are, which is strangely more of an orange than oranges.
Yeah,
are.
isn't that weird?
But yeah, I think that they, I mean, I just suspect because the word is almost certainly older than the ubiquity of the fruit. Because you think about something like an orange doesn't grow in very many spots in the world. And when language was developing, we likely didn't have any kind of citrus fruits in the, cradle of Europe where all that was happening. So they didn't have oranges and limes and lemons in Europe when language was developing. And that color was at least around during that time. So what did they, presumably they had the name for it. And then they just named the oranges that when they came across them, like presumably when we came over to like South America and stuff like that. Or not we, but the conquistadors and shit did that. And so, but I mean, yeah, the orange like was a
laranja.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it did have orange things, like the color orange, the dye orange was around. It wasn't, you pretty much had to be like somebody super rich in order to have it, but it did exist. But then again, maybe they just called it something else back then, and we just switched it.
Could be.
But I don't know. Switching all the colors, I don't know. Are violets named after violets, or are violets named after the color violet?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Wow, we really didn't do that much this week, did we? Oh, actually, I have another interesting idea. Lately, I've been finding myself like, fuck, I wish I could go out and do shit.
Yeah.
Like, because we can't do shit. And, I'm always going in this YouTube rabbit hole, and I was like looking up these people training before the lockdown happened. They're training for Spartan races. It's like, what's up with this?
Spartan races?
Yeah. So it's like they do different distances, like 5K, 10K, half marathon. So in between you running, there's like obstacle courses. And you would train for that.
I was thinking like chariots or something. I was like, that'd be way cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Spartans used chariots, but, still.
Yeah, but looking at that, like, I think any other time I would look at that, I was like, that's cool, and just forget about it. And I just been thinking about it, like, yeah, I should train for something. It'd be kind of cool to do.
Train for something. Some nondescript thing. I went to the beach.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we went
right
up
near the beach.
Right near the beach. Yeah, we went up to Capitola.
It's capital.
Capital?
No, it's Capitola.
Yeah. Well, actually, the first few times we went there, Diana was always calling it Capitola.
Oh.
And I was like, I think it's Capitola. And she's like, is it? She's like, I think it's Capitola. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Capitola. It's like Capicola. Yeah. But not. So yeah, we drove up there. We drove to the beach, and it was like really hot here that day, but it was like way cooler up there. Like we were out on the beach, it was probably like barely 80 degrees, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Like 77.
Was it crowded?
70. No, it was pretty quiet. Took some photos, and I mean, I didn't go in the water or anything like that. And we went and got something to eat. So it was fun. It was nice to get out of the house and see the old lady in the bikini and everything. So that's always nice.
Other weird words, like, you notice people are not from here. They go, San Thomas. Go down the San Thomas Road over here.
Oh, as opposed to San Tomas.
San Tomas.
Well, I told you how in everybody in LA, I don't know why I said LA, in Iowa, like, they mispronounce, like, all these, like, normal fucking words.
Like what?
That are the names of things.
Huh.
Oh, so, like, there's a city or a street, I don't remember, I think it's a city, and it's spelled Tripoli. But they pronounce it Tripoli.
Huh.
There's a city and roads. There's a city, and then there are roads that, like, are spelled the same, spelled Nevada, and they pronounce it Nevada. And then there's what's another one? It's like I could forgive, like, okay, so technically it should be Des Moines, right?
Yeah, Des Moines.
Not Des Moines.
Yeah.
But, like, I can forgive that, right? Like, people don't say St. Louis.
Yeah.
Right? They say St. Louis.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm talking about, like, things like Nevada. It's like, that's not, like, I lived there, and every time someone said that, I was like, that is not how you say that. They're like, it's pronounced Nevada. I'm like, the fuck it is. like, I was like, you are just all like backwoods fucking retards. Like, there's no way that
Go to Rodeo Drive.
Yeah, Rodeo Drive. So it's like fucking. It's like that, but it's just like there was a bunch of them, and I can't remember what they all are now. But it was just like all these things. Like, what? It's just, am I taking fucking crazy pills? Like, why is everybody pronouncing everything like they're retarded?
Or like Louisville. Mm-hmm. Louisville.
Well,
Louisville.
Well, technically, people from there say Louisville.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a degradation. That's weird, right?
Yeah.
I would accept Louisville or Louisville.
Yeah.
Or any, it's like, but yeah. Louis Viley. There's we didn't get this part in Sopranos yet, but one of the, so you know Carmine in The Sopranos? He's the New York mob boss.
Yes.
And he's got a son. I don't think we've been introduced to him yet, but he's we have been introduced to him, but he just hasn't played a big part in the series yet. But he's Little Carmine or whatever, and he's just a dipshit. And at one point in the series, there's all sorts of like clever mispronunciations in the series, and one of them is that Nietzsche. But one of them is he says Versailles. It's like. It's more like a resort at Captain Teebs.
I think we kind of dried it up this week, man.
Yeah, I didn't do much this week. Went to the beach with my old lady. I read a little bit. I watched a little bit of stuff. And then I had some work to do, so I wasn't really much of a person this week. I was kind of being low key. Played more D&D. Started a new campaign. We can talk about that.
All right, I can talk about that.
Yeah. And your buddy's going to play with us, or at least he's going to try.
Yeah.
If he doesn't hate it. So that'll be cool.
We added another to the fellowship.
It'd be nice to have a 3-person party.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Do you still play at NPC, or if you have that many people?
I mean, I could. I mean, right now he's with you, right? The cleric guy, he's with you.
And he dies.
And so it probably depends on what kind of character your buddy wants to play.
So how do you, like, for that, we're in the middle of a dungeon right now, or, an adventure. How do you add somebody in the middle of it? It's like, is he like locked up? He's like, oh fuck, finally someone here.
Well, luckily the adventurers kind of had embedded that some adventurers went down there.
Ah, that's true. Yes.
They went down there, and you're going down there to search for them. So it's like, I'll probably just make him part of that party of adventurers. And actually, there's something in the backstory of the narrative of like what happens to each of the adventurers, like that are there. You're searching for 2 of them that you're aware of, but unbeknownst to you, there were more adventuring characters in the party.
Yeah.
And so the adventurer actually handles what happened to those adventurers, and I'll just change it to make one of those adventurers your buddy, and he'll just be there in the dungeon with you. So it's a quick and easy fix. Usually, you can just do small edits like that. And, put somebody in there, and as long as it's not too jarring, which usually you can avoid it from being that, just with some small edits to the backstory, especially if the characters haven't revealed most of that backstory, because a lot of things, there's like backstories and adventures, and sometimes the PC's like, it's there, but you won't even, like, here's a question. What was the Sunless Citadel used for before it got inhabited by monsters?
I don't remember.
Exactly, I told you.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of clues in the adventure up to this point as to what it was used for. But like when I describe those things in the text, or like describe the room or whatever, like if you were keen to go investigate, like I want to go investigate what these runes on the wall are that he just told me about. But you guys just didn't, so you probably don't have a very crisp idea of like but it's not necessarily important to the adventure so much as it's just
It's flavor text.
It's flavor text,
Yeah.
right? It's like, this is what the thing used to be used for, and now it's like inhabited
Sex dungeon.
by
There's a gimp. He got hung.
So a lot of that stuff just doesn't ever get used.
A guy named Zed.
Just doesn't get used.
Dead.
So
Got
you don't.
sliced by a sword.
Yeah, he got sliced by a sword. That would be a really fun like D&D adventure to write, like just like a fucking Pulp Fiction adventure. Like it's
This guy Butch came in and just beat the shit out of everybody.
I don't know. It's like you're just sitting there, all of a sudden this guy Butch, he just breaks in. Looks like Bruce Willis.
You're taking a shit and someone stabs you.
Oh no. Yeah, it's bad luck for John Travolta every time he uses the bathroom in that movie.
Yeah.
Not good. I don't know why it's such bad luck for him.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? Oh, it had another like Dunning-Kruger effect to me. I know I'm not like working at a machine shop, especially a job shop. We're kind of doing the same runs of parts, and you're not really doing new techniques or learning other stuff for the machines. You just know what you know, and you run the machines as it is. But with having this new 5-axis, I'm kind of dipping my toes in, trying to get myself. And I knew I didn't know a lot, but there's a lot of fucking information out there. It's like, holy shit, I'm a fucking caveman compared to these people.
Yeah. That's always really impressive to me. Like when it happens to me with like, I think it's part of the reason I quit drawing, is that like, you live in a small town or whatever, and you get kind of good at drawing, and people notice, like, oh, hey, you're good at drawing. And like, and then you see people that are actually good at drawing.
It's like, oh.
And you're like, oh, geez. Mm-hmm. Sure would be a lot of work to be half as good as that guy.
Well, it's natural talent.
My uncle used to teach this guy, was kind of buddies with for a minute, Charu. And he's that way.
What?
Like, he's just like in fucking high school, he was just like as good as like a professional artist. Mm-hmm. Like, just naturally. Like, he's just fucking just unequivocally probably the most talented artist that I've ever seen. Like, he's just super good. And the thing is, I don't remember what he does now. The design or something, but I don't think he, like, I don't know if he still draws, but like, just seeing, like, if I could draw anything that he drew when he was like a freshman in high school, you would be like, dude, you're fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Like, I know.
Like, I've been drawing for 30 years, mm-hmm. and that's what it's like. He was that good at like 15.
Yeah.
It's like, just fuck. You just see people like that, it just makes you just want to quit ever doing anything that you've ever done. Mm-hmm. Fuck.
It's like I talk to my dad about machining stuff. Like, I think, maybe I know as much as he does. It's like, nope, I'm a fucking moron. It's like, why would I, like, he tells me this, like, why would I even know to do that? I don't know. You've been working here long enough. Like, but we never done this thing before. Yeah, just do it this way.
It's a thing that you do 1 out of every 50,000 operations.
Yeah, 1 out of, like, the 20 years I've been working there.
Yeah. It's like, it's every 50, just do it every 50,000 operations. Yeah, I've been working here long enough to do multiple 50,000 operation iterations. Uh-huh. Like, it's like 52,000. So it's like it's happened one time, and then I just got someone else to fix it.
Yeah, it'll just it'll fix itself somehow.
Yeah, that's why it's always weird to me when you see people that are like, they have really niche skill sets, like competitive eating and shit. And you're like,
why would you?
And they're just like, they're at the top of the echelon. That Matt Stoney guy like lives here in San Jose or whatever. It's like, he's like one of the best competitive eaters in the world, I'm pretty sure. And it's just like, it's so weird that you like dove deep on getting good at like something you just do to live.
Yeah.
That's weird to me.
Uh-huh.
Like,
this guy's the best breather of all time.
Yeah. He's super good at sleeping.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what we used to say about one of my cousin's buddies. Well, he's one of my cousin's buddies, and he's kind of like a surrogate family member. So it's weird because, so my dad, when he was younger, he had this old lady, Amanda, and he had a couple babies with Amanda, and then they split up. Right. So my brothers Adam and Robert are like a byproduct of that unholy union or whatever. And she had a younger brother, Sean. Sean is about the same age as my younger brother, Jason, which probably makes him 32 now.
Okay.
And so my dad and Amanda split up, and, he just kind of stayed involved. Like, he just kind of like, would keep coming over to see my brothers, and then just like, and we all knew him from when we were kids, right? Because it was like a few years, and he just kind of grew up together, and then he just kind of like assimilated into my family, even though he's not part of my family. He is by proxy, because technically he's Adam and Robert's uncle. But he's just like, now he's like one of my cousin's buddies. They call him Poofs. It's really fat.
Okay.
They just call him Poofs.
That's a really fucked up nickname, dude.
Yeah, well, all my cousin's friends have fucked up nicknames. Couch.
Then he said, "Just call me Couch." It's like I'm not calling you that.
Yeah, I'm not calling you that. But Poofs.
Got a real name there,
I
buddy.
just remember that so Poofs was kind of like a couch surfer. And so he was just like, for the longest time, I don't know how he's doing anymore, but for the longest time, like he couldn't hold a job. He was just kind of like the lovable scamp, right? Like he never had a job and he'd just like sleep on your couch.
Yeah.
And I remember over at the house, and it was like fucking like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something. And there was a whole bunch of people over at my cousin's house, and we were all hanging out and playing music. And like my cousin was playing guitar, and we were all chatting. Like it was fucking loud in the house, and he just passed out in the fucking living room. And I was like, dude, is he okay? Is he dead? He's fucking hasn't moved an inch. He's like in all this racket, and it's like the middle of the afternoon. And like my cousin's response was the best. He was like, "Oh, he's a world champion sleeper." Like, he's fucking like he's like the Michael Jordan of sleeping. Like,
Whoa, that's impressive, bro.
It's like I didn't think you could be good at that, but apparently you can.
He's like guy on the couch and half baked.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That was him. He could fucking just sleep anywhere for like however long. He was just like whatever. Nothing would wake him up. It was like, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I wish I had that talent.
Yeah.
It's like I mean I can go to sleep just about anywhere. Mm-hmm. But staying asleep is like another story.
Yeah.
Like it's like, you know, I'm like for the first couple of hours I'm out. Like I'm out. Like nothing will wake me. Earthquakes don't wake me up. Fucking. Did you feel that earthquake this morning? Like, no. Nope.
Well, it was in the morning when the sun comes up. Not like when it's been there for a while, right?
It's just fucking whatever. Yeah. So people tell me, yeah, it was like raining this morning. It's like, no, it started raining at 3:30. 4 o'clock it started raining. Like that's when it started raining. I was awake when it started raining, but I don't remember it stopping. I just woke up and it was normal, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a thing now.
Sometimes I wish I wasn't such a night owl. It's like, as long as I've been, an adult, I had to wake up really early every time. But I just don't have it in me just to be those people that all right, it's time to go to sleep now. It's 9 o'clock.
My mom is one of those people. She's like wakes up at 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. And I just I don't know. And my dad wakes up in the morning too. Like no alarm clock, just 6 o'clock every morning.
Whoa.
And so I'm like, where do I get this fucking? I think my uncle has it. This weird fucking night owl gene. Mm-hmm.
It is a genetic thing, from what I understand.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You would think that one of your parents would have that proclivity or something, but as far as I can tell, no one in my family is this way except my uncle. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and even his sleep patterns are different than mine. Like he can't sleep for more than 4 hours at a time.
Oh, that sucks.
So he's just I'll just wake up, I'll sleep for 4 hours, I'll get up, I'll do some stuff in my day, and then I'll go back to sleep at an ungodly hour. But it's I'll tell people oh, I'm kind of a night owl, and they're like, yeah, I know what you mean, I'm a night owl too. And I'm like, no, I go to bed at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of.
So you'd be perfect for graveyard shift, right?
I guess.
Just pass out right when you get home. That's at 6 in the morning.
Yeah. Yep. 6 to noon. That's pretty much 5 to noon.
Yeah.
That's my sleep schedule.
Yeah. If I had my way, I'd probably work a swing shift. That'd be pretty awesome for me. From 4 to 11.
See, ideally for me, I would wake up. I wouldn't have to be to work, until I have to wake up somewhere between 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then have to be to work at 3 to 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, I guess.
And then at night you have enough time to dick around, and then you just go to sleep.
But I think that's a byproduct of not being as much of a social animal as some people. Huh. Most people don't want to be up at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because there's no other people around.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Right? You can't go out and get a slice of pizza at 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. And you can't really call up your buddy and see what he's doing. So I don't mind just hanging out by myself. And then occasionally someone else I know hangs out and is up that late. But I don't know anyone that I'm never the guy that's man, I gotta get to bed. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen. You go to bed before I do. Mm-hmm. That's everyone I know. Mm-hmm. You're never gonna see me go to sleep. You will always be asleep before I go to sleep.
You're like when you're like
and I'll never see you wake up.
It's like that game you play when you're like as a little kid, you're doing a sleepover. Like, let's see who can stay up the latest.
Yeah, I always won that game.
Nah, bro, I'm a pro at this.
Yeah, pretty much past the age of like 11. Like, I just like I do that when I just like go over and like hang out with people, my friends and stuff, and it'd be like they'd be playing that game like, oh, how late do you stay up? Like I remember being like 11 years old and staying up literally all night for the first time and like seeing the sun come
It's like,
up.
whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah, I was like, this feels right, you know.
Yeah.
And someone was like, what's the latest you've ever stayed up? And I was just like, all like,
Till it's daytime.
all of the time.
Yeah.
I just stay up all the night. And yeah, I've just been that way for as fucking long as I can remember. And I mean, I can wake up in the morning if I have to. If it's like a pressing thing, I gotta get to work. I gotta like do an interview.
It's not your choice.
Not at all. Like, it's always just like it's a pain. I never feel okay like getting up before like 11 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
And that's, yeah, I always just feel like it just takes me longer to get going. Like, I will say though that my sleep schedule, I've been sleeping, normally I'm like 5 to like 6.5, 7 hours of sleep. That's like a normal amount of sleep for me every night. But I've been sleeping more like 7 to almost 8 hours like the last couple of weeks, pretty consistently, going to bed 6 o'clock, 6:30, and like waking up.
Just saying that, just like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah, because that's what most people are like, I'm a night owl too. It's like, not if you have a day job, you aren't.
Yeah.
Because you would never sleep.
Yeah.
Like if you were a night owl like I was a night owl, you'd be, most people are like, oh yeah, I know what you mean. Like I go to bed really late. And it's like, no, you go to bed at like 1 or 2, and you have to be to work at 8, so you have to be up by like 7.
Yeah.
So you get like 5 or 6 hours of sleep. Like that's a human amount of sleep.
Yeah.
But like you can't stay up till 6:30 and then be up at 6:30. Like it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, if I chose my work schedule, like I said, it'd be a swing shift.
And people always used to say that to me too. Like it's probably just, I was like, how do you people get up? Like Frank the Tank, he gets up at 4:30 in the morning, and I was like, I don't know how people do that, dude. I was like, well, it's just a force of habit. You know, you just get used to it. I'm like, dude, and I told him, I'm like, I've been working day shifts here at West Coast for over a year, and I get up at like, 8, 9 o'clock, normal human morning. And I was like, and it's still just like, if left to my own devices, where I have like a day off of work, I will stay up till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning and sleep till noon. Like, whatever, doesn't matter. Like, I can get up at 7 a.m. and then you would think, well, you'll be tired by like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Nope.
The extra gear kicks in.
Yeah, I get tired for a minute. I'm tired like almost the whole day.
Yeah.
And I feel like, should I just pump myself full of coffee and Red Bull for fucking like 9 hours and then like wind down the day? Like, okay, maybe if I want to go to sleep, I'll stop drinking caffeine at like 3 p.m. so I can have a chance of going to sleep before midnight. I get home and I feel wiped. And I'll just like, but I'll get home and it'll be like 7 p.m. And I'm like, I'm not going to bed at 7 p.m. I just won't, because I know I won't sleep until the morning. There's no fucking way I'm sleeping 13 or 14 hours straight unless I've been up for more than like a day and a half. Like if I did some hard physical labor, like, or even just something that were like if we went and played like shot around hockey or something for like an hour or two. Or even just an hour. We usually do like an hour. I'd go shoot around hockey for an hour, and I had been up for like 20 hours. Then I could go to bed and sleep pretty well and sleep for like a long time, maybe 8, 9, 10 hours. I'm not going to bed at 7 o'clock in the evening.
What am I, child?
So yeah, exactly. What is like the sun's not even down yet, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's bright out still, and so I'll just be like, I'll just stay up till like 10 or 10:30, and then I'll go to bed. Nope, bing,
Yeah.
wide awake. Like I just.
Yeah, it is a weird thing. You're like super exhausted at work. Once you get home, it's like, wow, I have all this energy now. What's what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, for me. There's
hate that.
There's a refractory period. Right after I get home, I'm like, I feel like I could just like fall into a puddle and go to sleep. Like, oh god. But once I take my shoes off and I convalesce for a little bit, and it's like, oh, I don't actually have to, just do what I want for the rest of the night. And it's like, then I'm like wide awake. I'm all amped up and energized. Like, yeah, what's going on? Fucking like hang out. It's like, yep. So it's like the thing is it's like it's so bad that every woman I've dated, it affects their sleep schedule. Because if they want to spend time with me, they have to do so in the evening.
Yeah.
And then it's just like gradually like pushes back. Like Diana, when she was working at AirKit, she was going to bed at like midnight, 1 o'clock, and getting up at like 7 or 8 o'clock. And now like that she's at home more, and like I'm like fully back on a night schedule. She's like going to bed at like 3:30, and I'm going to like 3:34, and I'm going to bed at like 6. And so it's like I'm still up for, but like it used to, and my ex was the same way. Like she get mad at me because she's like, well, I want to spend time with you, but you're just like up all fucking night, and then you just like sleep during the day. I'm like, but you're at work anyway. What do you care what I'm doing?
Yeah. What he's doing? He's probably fucking sleeping.
Yeah. But that's another thing too. Is I talked about this with some people. Is people think that like if you sleep at hours that people don't typically sleep, they like in their brain, it's like they think you go to bed at the same time as they do.
Oh.
They're like, you're like, oh man, you're yawning. Like, are you tired already? And I'm like, no, I'm tired still.
Yeah.
Right? It's only noon.
I just woke up, man.
And I was like, I just woke up like an hour ago. And they're like, what? I got up at fucking 5 a.m. Like, so they just have this attitude like you're so lazy. It's like, yeah, but I was working at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was working at 3:30 a.m. What were you doing? You were sleeping, right? So it's like, what's the difference? I sleep 6-7 hours a night, probably just like you do. And
not at night.
and just not at night, but like because you're sleeping when most people are like out doing stuff. They just have this attitude like you went to bed at 9 p.m.
Yeah,
and you slept until fucking noon. It's like, no, I didn't
That's
do
a
that.
problem.
Yeah, that's you serious issues there.
Yeah. I had a buddy like that. He would sleep for like 10, 12 hours a day.
It is
It's like, I think he was anemic. So it was like,
well, it's addictive too.
what?
Like I've noticed that like if I sleep a long time, if I sleep
You feel tired after you wake up. You're like, I should be fucking rested.
yeah, and after you've been up for like 10, 12 hours, you could go back to bed.
Yeah.
And it's like you just your body gets used to sleeping 10, 11, 12 hours, and then that's just how much sleep you need. And it's like, yeah, that's not good for you, man. Like you shouldn't need 10 plus hours of sleep. Like once or twice a week or whatever, maybe you could sleep that long if you don't sleep a lot during the week.
Yeah.
But,
I have noticed when, when I was living at the shop, like I had no commute, so I just wake up anytime, a reasonable time. And, it was pressing on. I was clocking later and later. And I was like, okay, I got to cut this out, get like a good 8 hours of sleep, go to sleep around like maybe 11 or 12 and do that. Nope, I just get up exactly at the same time. My body just didn't give a fuck. It's like, you're just going to wake up now at this time.
I used to, before I had problems sleeping, I used to be able to just do what my dad does and just set a mental alarm clock. Like, it does work. Like, if you just actually get regimented to it and get used to it, like, you will wake up within, like, 10 minutes of the time that you mean to wake up.
No. Like,
more effectively than an alarm most of the time.
Yeah, I have my alarm set. Now, for some reason, I wake up 5 minutes before my alarm goes off.
Yeah.
I look at my watch, like, it's going to go off in 5 minutes. So I better get ready to turn it off.
Yeah. But it was like, yeah, like once you get used to not having that safety net, you will wake up. But that's all
dangerous game, homie.
It's predicated. There's a reason I had to stop doing it is because I would do stretches where I would be basically on a 36-hour schedule. So I would be up for like 20, 22 hours, and then sometimes as much as 24 hours, and then I would go to sleep. And when you're more tired, like I had a job where I was like on my feet all day, and I was like doing manual labor and shit. So it was like I'm working 10-hour shifts, and then like so I'm beat and I'm like up for double that time, and it's like I'm just wiped by the time I go to sleep, and it's like I can't just be like I'm gonna get 6 hours of sleep and just wake up because my body is just checked out.
Yeah.
Like I'm just too tired for that. I will sleep through the time I'm supposed to get up. So I had to start setting an alarm.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Here's another one.
There's another one.
That I thought of, like, For about 3 days, I was just straight programming. No, I was getting up once in a while doing stuff. But I do notice, I don't know with you, but when you're concentrating on something, you tend to be in very like weird positions, and then like after 5 minutes, like fuck, my back's all fucked up. What the fuck? You're like doing stretches. You're like, all right, I'm gonna sit up straight, have a better posture, do that. But like once you get to something, it's like your body contorts in the weird positions and just hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's I'm much better about that now because I used to. I harp on Diana about it. Not harp on her, but I'm constantly reminding her that like she does the same thing and she's not as self aware about it. Like you know what? It's funny. You know what broke me of that habit is playing D&D. Is I used to notice like when I was DMing, I would notice that like I'd be doing stuff like rolling dice and like everything and yada yada yada, and then we'd be playing D&D for like a stretch, if we played like once a week or whatever. Sometimes we'd play for 6-7 hours, like when I was in high school. And I would notice like when I started getting older, like when I picked D&D back up in my 20s, I would like, my back would be fucking sore. And I'd be like, why is my fucking back so sore? And it's like, yeah, because you're like leaning forward in the chair. You're not using the back support on the chair.
Yeah.
And I would do it when I was writing too. Like I'd lean forward on my computer.
Do you like to put your feet like, especially roller chairs, I put my feet up underneath me.
Like this?
Yeah, like that.
Huh. No.
In like weird
No,
positions.
I just got in the habit of like, okay, there's the back of the chair and put my back to the chair and here.
Yeah.
And like sit in a way that's like I know, and like Diana does it too. Like she'll be leaning forward and I'll just like nudge her back. Like I'll just be like, your back is going to be sore. Like you're sitting in an office chair, but you're not actually using the back of the office chair, and you don't realize you're sitting there working. You're focused intently on something. Your body won't tell you like you're in discomfiture because your brain is so distracted with a bunch of other stuff. And over a long arc, you realize like, my back is sore now. It's like, yeah, it's because you were leaning forward for 6 hours, like with no back support, and you're not like 12 years old, so you can't do it. It's like sitting on the ground. You do that as a fucking adult. You're just like, you get up and you're just like, you can't even get up without making like an old man noise. You're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, but when you were a kid, you just do like, I just play D&D on the fucking ground for like 10 hours and then just be like, yay, let's go run around the park. Right?
Yeah, you're like laying on your stomach like this or whatever. You're like, fine. Let's roll out of the position.
Yeah, it's like, so yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I was actually pretty good about breaking myself of that habit because it just like it was so bad for a while that like I like couldn't, I'd be in so much pain I couldn't even go to sleep. Just be like, oh god, oh man, like it's I did it with something too where it was like my fucking neck really hurt because I realized I was like cocking my head to the side or something while I was doing something. I can't remember what it was. But it was like, I just ended up having like a fucking like sore neck. It was, or like, remember I was talking like a couple months back where it was like I was just reading at a weird angle on the couch. I was reading and I was engrossed in reading, and I just sat in a weird position for like 45 minutes reading, and then the next day my back hurt. And I was like, why is my back and neck hurt? It's like just from reading. Like that's how you
injure yourself by reading.
Yeah, just reading.
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
Nerd alert.
Yeah.
Well,
got anything else?
I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah, all right.
We've been pretty good on time.
Well,
should we be doing Sopranos watch along for season 4? Maybe
next week?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can I do it next week? Yeah. I can do it next week.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Stay tuned for Sopranos season.
More gabagool. 100% more gabagool.
Season 4, part B, right? Part 2.
Yes.
So where did we leave off? What episode was it? 6 or 7?
What?
6 or 7 did we leave off on?
What are you talking about?
For last time.
I thought we finished season 3.
4.
4. What?
Did we finish season 3 last time? We didn't start season 4 yet.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're doing the first half of season 4.
4.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll do that then. It will probably be a short episode because
It almost took us a whole year to get to season 4.
well, we'll get to season 5 before the end of the year.
I thought we would have been done with this by the first year.
Nobody likes Sopranos. Why don't you guys like Sopranos?
I know.
Nobody.
No one likes it. No one writes us anything.
No one likes me. So that's fine.
Seems like most of the people, like, I was looking at the analytics for everything. It's like, there's a lot of people from the Midwest that listen to the podcast.
Well, there's not a lot of people from anywhere that listen to it. So
Not a whole lot of anybody.
there's not a lot of anyone.
Some people from New York, Michigan.
Michigan. Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk.
We gotta branch out. I told my old lady to come up with some things to help market the podcast.
Oh yeah. It's like
do me a
have a
bullet.
better podcast.
Yeah,
That would help.
Stop. Well, that's the thing is if it really was just Sopranos, that would be more of a niche thing to market.
Yeah.
You'd know who your audience was a little bit more, but we're just kind of like a fucking buffet of nonsense.
Smorgasbord.
I was gonna say smorgasbord, but
Cornucopia of knowledge.
of knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
All that stuff about going to the beach.
Right near the beach, man.
Right near the beach. All right, take us out.
All right, that does it for this week. You have anything else to say?
No, I guess I didn't have much to say this week.
Yeah.
Just boring. More of the just nah, man, nah. You said some shit like that at my work, you get your ass kicked.
Don't be a fool. Wash your hands before you eat the gabagool. Ciao.
Thanks for listening
You like that,
to
huh?
Mikey and the Press Pass podcast. Consider subscribing. You can rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and pretty much anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. And you can also write us with any ideas, suggestions, or horrible burning criticism at mikeyandthepresspass@gmail.com. Thank you.